Hello, my name is Patrick with AllMax Software Technical Support, and I'm here with your video tech tip for this week. Did you know that Operator 10 can perform complex mathematical calculations for you? Today we'll be going over the basics of how to create such a calculation using the formula section in Operator 10. To begin, let's take a look at our data view here. We can see that we have samples of rainfall from the north side and south side of our city, as well as a third location parameter where we would enter in the average rainfall. Normally, we would have to hand calculate these values and enter them in individually. This would be very time consuming and opens up the possibility of a user maybe entering in the wrong value. To avoid this, we want to make a formula that would calculate this for us and save us a lot of time. To create a formula, we'll need to go back to the main application. So we'll close out this data view here, and we'll go look at the ribbon here on the main application and select the Setup tab. Here we can find the formula button, and upon clicking it, it pulls up our formula list. To create a new formula, we'll want to click the blue plus sign on the left-hand side of the formula window. Here we can see the new formula window, which is where we will edit our brand new formula. If you have more than one facility, you'll want to click this three-dot button on the right, and you'll want to select which facility that is associated with this formula. Our location parameters for rainfall were in the wastewater sample data, so that's what we'll be selecting here. Next, you can give the formula a name, and this name must be unique from other formula names. In our case, we're just going to name this one average rainfall. After naming the formula, you'll have to select an LP to attach this formula to. We can do that here by clicking the three-dot button, and this will bring up the list of attached LPs. You can attach more than one, and that's why this list is here. Right now there are no LPs attached, so we'll begin doing that here. We want to attach this where the data is going to be calculated. In our case, it would be the third location parameter, which was the city average. Again, if you would like to, you can attach this to more than one LP for the calculations to be done at more than one location parameter. After attaching an LP, you can see the remarks section. Here you can enter in any useful comments that could go along with the formula, such as what the formula does or why it's being used. Below, we can see the formula editor window. In this window, we have all the text that would go into our function. AllMax provides functions above. With the drop-down menu, we can see the entire list. Each of these functions has its own unique calculation that it provides. For today's example, we'll just be using the average function. You can see that sample data is entered here, and this simply shows you what the format must be in order for this function to work. We're going to go ahead and remove that, and then enter in the location parameters from this button here. These are where we get the data from. So we're going to get it first from the north side. Then we'll put a comma in between as the function shows is necessary. And we'll enter in our second location parameter, which would be the south side rainfall. Sometimes this text can be a little bit difficult to see, and because of that, we have included a maximize and minimize button to increase the size of the text. Here we can see it's a lot easier to edit this if we needed to remove a single character. And if there's too much text and it's hard to see the whole formula, we can minimize it so that the entire formula can be included inside of this bar. Below you'll see the formula result, which can be changed using this button if you change the date. And the date is necessary in order to receive a result. Upon changing this date, we can click this button and we'll see that the result changes. Below are two different ways to receive a result. On the right, we can use data from the database. Here you can select wildcard parameters, which would be parameters to pull data from, or in our case, we can leave it blank and it'll by default use the parameters we have selected above. You can also use test data if you don't know a particular date that you have data for, and you can provide that data for the location parameters. Here I've provided 10 as the value for the north side rainfall and 20 as the value for the south side rainfall. And we can see that the formula provides a result above. Once we're done editing our formula, we'll want to click the Save button, and this will add this formula to our list here. In the formula editing list, you can click Calculate to calculate for your formula, and you'll see we have a start and end date. You may have noticed that there's a function help button next to the function list. If you click the function help button, it will pull up the help file, as well as function categories. This is a list of categories that our functions have been placed into, and if you want to see every function at once, you can order them by groups or by alphabetically. The help file is a great resource to show you what functions do and how they may be useful. In our instance, we use the average function, and you can see here it gives you examples of how the average function is used, as well as what the variables in the function are used for. After creating your formula, you'll want to go back to the Data View tab. After creating your formula, you'll want to go back to your Data View tab. We can do so by clicking View and going to the Data View. Next, we'll want to open up our data view that had the location parameters that we were using for this calculation, which would be our rainfall. Upon opening the data view after the formula was created, you'll see that this location parameter now has a calculator attached to it to signify that it is a formula. In the data view section is another calculate button, where we can select the dates that we would like to calculate for. I have data from March 1st to the 31st, so those are the dates that I will choose to calculate for. We can choose to calculate all formulas for a particular facility, or just one formula at a time. In this case, we'll manually select our average rainfall calculation that we just made. You can click Start, and you'll see that the calculation is running, and once the window goes away, the calculation is finished, and you'll just need to click Refresh in order for the results to populate. You can see that this would save you a lot of time, and you don't have to worry about mistyping anything. In addition, from the Data View section, you can right-click on the header of a location parameter, and you can see that there's a formula window here. From here, we can select the formula or the calculation order to make any changes that we would want right from this section, so we never actually have to go back to the formula section inside of the main application. Once you have a formula set up, you'll never have to set it up again. You can simply close it, and this formula will always remain attached to this location parameter so that you can make these calculations work for the entirety of your use of operator 10. To review, you would want to first find which location parameters are in use for a formula. Then, you would want to go back to the main application, Setup tab, and select Formulas. And here, you are able to add a new formula. In addition, if you already have a formula that you'd like to edit, you can add a similar formula if you just need this formula to be attached to different location parameters. Once you've created your formula, you can go back to your data view, and you'll see that the formula has now been attached to that location parameter. Calculations can be ran from the data view section or the main application, and all of your data will then populate after opening up the data view for the first time, or if it's already open, clicking the refresh button. My name is Patrick with AllMax Software, and that's your video tech tip for this week. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to learn more, please take a few minutes to subscribe and explore the other videos on our YouTube channel, or visit our website at allmaxsoftware.com.